The liver shot, one of the most underrated strikes in all of combat sports, and potentially one of the most misunderstood as well. This is something I've covered in the past. I thought we'd do a skill builder breakdown of sorts, and also keep the narration train going. So, one of the first sort of misconceptions, or at least inquiries about the strike, is why the pain? Why so painful? Why the delay? The pain could really be boiled down to the fact that your liver is your largest organ in your body. Um, it also is, it's kind of entrenched in, or immersed in, wrapped in nerves, very sensitive nerves, and a lot of nerves. And if you see in this photo here, this is, the other one was from the front, this is from the back. There isn't much covering it. So the same thing could probably happen to a spleen if it were ruptured. Obviously, things like lungs, etc. If you've ever been hit in the solar plexus, those are all incapacitating type strikes. The liver acts the same way. One of the things I wanted to point out here is when you are striking, it isn't on the little love handle. It's a little bit above that. So, Bas, take it away.
I'm kind of stabbing it in. So this is what I tell in my seminars, if you have a knife here, you would like to stab it in. At the moment you come back, it needs to be only a hole as big as that knife. Then you do it the right way. So don't hit like this. You want to direct all that power into the body, because let's face it, the liver is located behind a whole pack of muscles and a rib cage. You got to get dig through that.
So, furthering on the narrative from Bas, thanks, Bas, my main man, is that in this angle isn't as drastic as it should be, but when you're holding said knife, as he was saying, in between your first and second fingers, you want to stab from where you're going to actually land with your knuckles, and you want to aim for the opposite shoulder. Just something to keep in mind, because it's not a hook, because it's not lateral to the ground. It's not an uppercut, obviously, because you're not striking a target upward. Some of these are kick examples. Others are going to be punches. One of the most classic ways is during infighting that you'll see it happen. It's usually a left hand, and it's usually up at an angle, but not always. See, that's a good one from Jones that you see. And one of the biggest things to remember is how sensitive it is. As far as the delay is concerned, that's more of an inner struggle thing, whereas you feel it, but you don't realize how much it's going to debilitate you until after. There's a good penetration shot right there. But again, it's the largest organ and one of the more exposed ones in the body. So here's a few of my favorites. We're going to start with Showtime, who certainly learned from one of the masters himself, Mr. Duke Rufus. What people forget about the Cowboy one is that he was punched in said liver first, and a couple of things the Cowboy doesn't tend to do well, and I'm a fan, I mean no disrespect, but move backward and take shots to the body. He also doesn't really do well against Southpaw, so you got kind of a 3 for there. No mystery at this point that I'm a fan here. This is early on. I watched the setup here with the unbelievable little shuffle into a sidestep, and he loads up with his right hand in order to set it up, and there's the delayed reaction there. I think that's McCollum. And here's, I slowed it down, but see this right hand that he threw. Now, this is the pendulum effect that I speak of constantly, where he's loading up his right shoulder over the center, and now see how he's kind of corked up at the angle to come up. This is a good shot. If you watch this progress up, bang. See how it's a stabbing motion. It's not just, you don't just use the knife example for the fact that you would ever, because you don't hold the knife that way. What you want to see here is his feet to set this up, and it's going to be a shuffle feint. There you go. This is a foot feint, really. It would be the best way to describe it. There was this earlier, and that is a right shot to the ribs. And here comes, now watch the angle, watch his eyes, and see how he was selling high to come low after shuffling him with the feint like this. Now this was recent. And this kid is unbelievable. Now watch how he kicks low. Watch his eyes here. He's going to frame on his hands. And this guy's going to kind of defensively frame and keep his elbows high like that as he then leans in. Again, these are all kind of pendulum effect type strikes. Off of the right leg kick, he then plants hard and sits on that. And look at how deep that penetrates. This kid's going to be an absolute killer, by the way. Pico from Bellator. And lastly, I just wanted to go over an example of one, bang. And if you've never seen it, type in Roy Jones versus Virgil Hill, and you'll get to hear it. This is on the other side of the body, and it just goes to show you. Allegedly, he broke ribs here, although who knows? But it doesn't always have to be a liver shot for the body shot to be completely incapacitating. So what you're going to see here is as Roy's shuffling in once again from his range, he's going to throw his long hook, which he constantly does, but he's staying in the center line on purpose. So when he flashes that hook, what Hill's going to respond with is a jab in that said center line while he takes his head left and away as he steps drastically. Now see how much that penetrates, and look how much the jab misses by. Look where his head is in juxtaposition to the left arm of Hill, and how much that penetrates. That is an absolutely brilliant shot, and that guy was out, and it was pretty terrifying. You got to hear it. It's like a gunshot. So anyway, those are some just liver shot basics for everyone, and I just wanted to do a quick little tutorial. Hope you enjoyed. Comments below. Cheers.